Justin Kurzel's Nitram is a stirring, disturbing new film that depicts the life of an isolated young man who would go on to commit the worst mass murder in Australia's history. Caleb Landry Jones won the Best Actor Award at Cannes last year for his immersive performance as the titular character. And as Helen, an eccentric heiress who befriends Nitram, Essie Davis is truly beguiling and won the Australian Oscar for her work, her second consecutive one. She's an international stage, TV, and film star whose credits include Baz Luhrmann's Australia, Burning Man, The Babadook, Babyteeth, and True History of the Kelly Gang. Welcome, Essie.
Hello, Frank. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. First of all, it's a terrific performance. Congratulations.
Thank you. Another film I'm very proud of.
As well you should be. We're living in extraordinary times where violence seems to be everywhere, but one of the things that struck me about Nitram is that I don't see it as a film that glorifies violence at all. It seems to just want to have a conversation about how it's birthed, if that makes sense. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I think it's a quite empathetic film about family struggles and people who fall through the gaps, and how dangerous it is to have access to weaponry when you're struggling to be a part of something. And I think what I found reading the script was how beautiful a story it is, how sad and how culpable we all are in these events. And in fact, you know, the fact after that mass shooting, Australia changed its gun laws immediately and effectively, even though things are loosening up now in a quite terrifying way. But since that time, touch wood, there hasn't been any such thing. Whereas in America, since that time, there have been more and more and more mass shootings, to the point where those first few were international news. And now it's become so commonplace. It's really terrifying that I think people have become numb to the violence that is occurring all the time.
We have, you know, my husband's a high school teacher, so, you know, I worry all the time. Helen is based on Helen Mary Elizabeth Harvey. Tell me how you approached prep work to play this such an interesting woman.
Well, all of the characters in the film are based on real life characters in Tasmania, where I live and where I grew up and where I come from. And Helen, I didn't know much about Helen, and there's not much written about Helen, but the facts remain that she was a Tats heiress and quite eccentric, and used to go and buy multiple luxury cars. And she had actually something like 59 dogs and 37 cats, and was a massive hoarder and lived with her mother in the kitchen of their mansion. We could only afford 10 dogs and 1 kitten when we were making the film. So things are quite different in our version of it, but what happens to her did happen. And we knew that she'd been in, she was older than me and certainly physically quite different to me. And, but we knew she'd been in the Mikado and had been in a few theatrical, amateur theatrics. And we knew that she spent a lot of money on steaks for her dogs. And so Justin and I just decided to explore the world of Gilbert and Sullivan And I found that wonderful patter song from Ruddy Gore about and if but I have to die tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. I have to die tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. And that was the exploration of the character was quite profound, because the script was amazing, but the character originally was quite a loud, flamboyant, welcome into my world of theatrics and music. And we just decided that was just too harsh a character for this film, and to explore really the idea of being an outsider and a loner, recognizing another outsider and loner, and providing a nest to share, I guess. So, and that timidity of that kind of strange relationship. Is she mother? Is she lover? And her not wishing to be either of those things, but sort of, I guess, seeing this strange, wonderful for her creature in her life, and seeing him almost romantically, I guess.
I really appreciated the looks that you would give him, because you gave us, the audience, this permission to appreciate him, if that's the right word, but also wonder about him.
Yes, because he is a strange being, and our relationship is very brief. Our part of the story is very brief in the world of the film, but had things gone differently, perhaps the world would have been different.
That's something I wanted to ask you about, because that kept playing over in my head, and it's a bit of a daring idea to put forth, but it's there. That because his own mother didn't see what she saw in him, that he was considered funny, special. She speaks these things, and had she not perished the way she did, maybe things would have been different.
Maybe things would have been different, but I don't think the film is blaming the mother either. I think the mother and father are both doing the best that they can do, and not knowing how, and enduring and trying to create a world for their son that they can all function in, and that everyone will be protected and safe and happy and get on, and put up with each other. Or I think that's one of the reasons the father is so intent on getting this holiday home, bed and breakfast place, is to have his son be able to help him in a more isolated way that might nurture him. But unfortunately, everything falls through the cracks, and because he suddenly inherits great wealth, he's able to walk into a gun shop and buy whatever he wants, and does so without a license or any questions. And everyone in Australia wants to be a part. Well, everyone. That's a great gross generalization. A lot of people want to be part of a group or fit in to society, or find their place. And he's trying so hard and is such an outsider, but he finds his place in the gun world. He's welcomed in a natural. And I think this is a very sensitive film about how important it is that everyone is kinder to each other, but also that not everyone can have access to this kind of weaponry. I mean, that it happens too often.
It's one of the reasons why it's so important that this film is seen here in the United States.
I think so.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the wonderfully awkward scene between you and Judy Davis, and how Helen stands her ground.
I know. It's quite a fierce scene, but it looks so fabulous in it. But and Judy is so amazing. She's, you know, has been my mentor, my idol since I was little. And so having that scene with her was wonderful. And it would have been easy to cave to her, but Justin said, stand your ground, stand your ground, stand your ground. And, you know, I think Helen finds strength in this. She finds her own strength in this friendship as well, in this company. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's interesting. You're married to Justin, and now is this your 5th project together, if I'm not mistaken, or I think it may be. Do you do you find that you have a shorthand now working with one another, or is it different with each project?
Sometimes it gets very short. No, I think. Well, I think we both really, really love the way each other works. And I love working with him because he always, he's got such a different way of thinking to me. So he will always ask questions that I might not have asked myself. And he is one of the most demanding directors to work with, but I love working with him because he always comes up with really interesting questions and interesting answers. And I guess there's a certain ease about it because we know each other very well, but because we admire each other's work so much, it's a real pleasure to work together. That's sort of separate from our relationship as husband and wife, but we always check in on each other with other projects that we're doing. Go, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, I love being on set with Justin and just watching him direct other people, other films. And I really hope that we get to work on something that's even more intensely the two of us.
Nice. Well, I wanted to ask you about the Justice of Bunny King, because that played at Tribeca. And any word on when that will be released here in the United States?
I have heard that it might be September, but
it's a great performance, by the way.
Thank you. I'm really, really proud of that one too. And it, you know, in Australia, it was going to be in every festival and then come out, and COVID just devastated that. It's done really well in New Zealand. It's another film I'm incredibly proud of, and a story I think that needs to be told, you know, about a woman in poverty who is couch surfing and trying to make her money washing windscreens at intersections, trying to raise enough money to get her own house so that she can get her children out of foster care. And the lengths what she has to go through to do that, both in terms of the government and in terms of the injustice that she witnesses and decides that she's going to do something about. And in doing so, compromises her own future pathway by looking out for her niece. So I think it's a really, really, really important story. And a lot of the women who are extras on the film were saying in the change rooms, that's my story, that happened to me. And I just think it's a story that so many people don't know. And, you know, people make really harsh judgments about people who are poor or who have been in prison or have endured domestic violence or whose children are in foster care. And perhaps those judgments are very uninformed.
Essie, my final quick question to you. You've been in New York before. You've been here with Jumpers. When are you coming back?
Please, as soon as possible. I love New York. I love New York. I'll come back in a heartbeat. Well, I was actually there for 3 days 2 weeks ago. And it was such a joy to walk down the streets and across the bridges, and it was quite nostalgic, and I can't wait to come back.
Well, I can't wait because I want to see you on stage.
Thank you. I really hope so too. That'll be great fun. I love Broadway and off Broadway. I love it. New York's the best.
Thank you so much for taking the time out. It's an extraordinary film. And it's a performance that really stays with you. And it's a movie I really appreciate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.